Hi, I'm Josh, and welcome to another edition of the Butler Sports Report. I've got the other Josh with me here today, and we're going to talk about Butler men's basketball action from the past week. Butler went 1-1 with the loss at Providence and a win here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse against St. John's. We're going to start with the Providence game. Butler lost 71-65. It was just a bad shooting performance for Butler.
Yeah, except for Nate Fowler. Nate had a career-high 19 points on 7 of 9 from the field, 3 of 3 from three-point range. So that was very exciting to see. But, yeah, other than that, the team really struggled. They shot only 31% in the first half. Just rough offensive performance.
Yeah, it was not. They were 0 for 8 from the three-point line in the first half and shot only 28% from the three-point line for the game. So definitely need some more consistent three-point shooting. And then only shot 41% from the field throughout the entire game. Butler's defense wasn't awful against Providence, but down the stretch they couldn't get the stop when they needed to. They were down, 4 points for a lot of the late portion of the second half, somewhere around there, and just couldn't seem to get a stop after getting a bucket. So they were never able to overtake the lead.
Yeah, it was kind of really a tale of two halves because Butler was winning 25-23 at halftime, and then Providence outscored the Bulldogs 48-40 in the second half. So they scored almost 50 points in a half.
Yeah.
You just can't give up that many points.
That's a lot of points. Can't give up that many in the half. 4 Providence Friars in double figures. Once again, guards were effective against the Bulldogs as well. So that's also an area that Bulldogs obviously need to continue to work on. Butler then beat St. John's inside of Hinkle Fieldhouse on Wednesday night. So many points scored in this game.
Really incredible.
There's so many points scored, just under 200 points combined. Butler ended up scoring 110 points, 54 in the first half, 56 in the second half. It was really an offensive clinic from the Bulldogs.
Yeah, there were 5 players in double figures. Andrew Travis and Avery Woodson led the team with both 20 points. Keelan Martin had 19. They shot 13 of 26 from three-point range, which is not necessarily a typical characteristic of a Butler team, but they were falling from deep.
Right.
It was a sight to behold.
Yeah. And Keelan Martin seemed to get his feet back a little bit in this game. Ended up with 19 points, 9 rebounds. It's exactly what Keelan Martin needs to do for the Bulldogs, and seeing him score well in this game was encouraging to see. Butler's defense was obviously not stellar in this game. When giving up 86 points is still a lot of points in a college basketball game. Even if you did score 110 points, defense needs to get a little better. Now, St. John's is a team that scores the basketball well, so it's not like they were playing a DePaul team that is not a great scoring team, but at the same time, defense continues to need to improve.
Yeah, St. John's certainly has the ability to score and score in bunches. In addition to the 5 Bulldogs in double figures, there were 10 different players that scored. Yes. Tyler Lewis had 9 assists, 7 in the first half. It's hard to be so critical of the defense when the offense was just running at such a high level.
Right.
It does need to improve, and it's a tough stretch coming up here, as we're going to talk about later. So,
but to Butler's credit, St. John's shoots the basketball well, and they held St. John's to 7 of 20 from the three-point line, so only 35%. So that's a solid effort for them as well. The loudest roar of this game came with just 40 seconds left in the game when Stephen Bennett checked in from the scorer's table.
And then he scored.
And he ended up scoring, which was a sight to behold as well. The dog pound went crazy. It might have been the loudest Hinkle was all night, but definitely cool to see for Stephen.
Oh, no question. That was a great experience to be part of. It just seemed like there was a different level of intensity.
Yep.
No matter how the game looked or how many points they gave up, they seemed to be back to themselves, which was really, really exciting to see.
Yes, I definitely agree. Early in that game, you saw Butler's rebounding the basketball really well. At one point, they were up 13-3 in the rebound column early in the game, diving for loose balls, things that you had not seen from Butler in the past few games you saw early in the game. It really looked like they had made a point of coming out with lots of energy in the first half, and it showed, and they ended up playing, carrying that momentum through the rest of the game.
No question.
So a split week for the Butler Bulldogs, losing at Providence, but then definitely rebounding and beating St. John's. Coming up this week, they played DePaul. They played DePaul on Sunday. The last time Butler played DePaul It was a 70-69 victory in Chicago in overtime. Bulldogs need to do a better job against DePaul this time around.
Yeah, it was not pretty. Butler shot 36% from the field, 25% from three. There was 25-5 at one point in the game. DePaul was winning. You just can't let them start that well again.
No.
And Eli Kane had 32 points in the first matchup, 11 of 18 from the field. Got to stop him.
Yes, for sure. They're lucky it was DePaul that they let get out to a 25-5 lead, because there are very few teams that are going to let you crawl back into a game the way they did. You just can't let them start that hot again. You can't put yourself in that deep of a hole so early in the game and expect to come out with a victory, because it's not going to happen a lot. Next game, at Villanova, inside the Pavilion. It's going to be an incredible game. Villanova's out for blood after losing to the Bulldogs on January 4th inside Hinkle Fieldhouse.
First time in almost 10 months.
Yes, the first time their 21 game win streak or something crazy like that. They need to do a really good job with Josh Hart again.
Absolutely.
Held Josh Hart to 30% shooting, under 30% shooting for the game. That's a key to beating Villanova, is slowing down Josh Hart.
Yeah, he only had 13 points on 3 of 11 from the field. Villanova as a team only had 7 assists and 0 fast break points, which shows just how good Butler's defense was for large stretches of that game. And that's got to be something that if they're going to go into Philadelphia and win, they're going to have that defense travel with them.
Right, exactly. It's a lot easier to slow down a team and to keep them out of their rhythm if you're completely taking away the fast break. Jalen Brunson did have 23 points, so we'll need to have a good defensive performance against him. But if they go in there and perform the way they did on January 4th, I think they have another good chance of beating Villanova.
Yeah, the one advantage the Bulldogs might have is depth. They outscored Villanova's bench 25-6 last time around, and Villanova's had a couple injuries since then, so they're really struggling to find players that they feel comfortable playing, so they're only playing 7 guys. Butler can easily go 10 deep, so that might be something that Coach Holtman looks to exploit, or at least try to.
Fresh legs throughout the entire game and really try to, when Villanova might get fatigued late in the game, take advantage of that. But this coming week should be exciting for the Bulldogs. Back half of the Big East Conference schedule, getting closer and closer to the Big East tournament, and this is a week for the Bulldogs to really solidify themselves in the top couple spots in the Big East.
No question. And the men's basketball team is certainly not the only Butler athletic team in action. The women's basketball team, the men's and women's track and field, men's and women's tennis, baseball is starting up right now, actually, is their first game. Softball and lacrosse all have games this weekend, so it's going to be a busy week for Butler teams.
Yes, make sure to support those student athletes, whether they're on the road or here on Butler's campus. They definitely enjoy the support from their student colleagues. Butler former athletes it's also a big weekend for Butler former athletes and former coaches from Butler. Brad Stevens, Alex Barlow, and Gordon Hayward all have a role to play in All-Star Weekend. Down in New Orleans in the NBA, Gordon Hayward is part of the All-Star team, the West All-Star team. Brad Stevens is coaching the East All-Star team, and Alex Barlow, being a part of Brad Stevens' coaching staff, will also be in attendance as well. So it's really cool to see Butler alum, Butler connections really excelling at their profession. So if you get a chance, try to catch Brad Stevens, Gordon Hayward, and Alex Barlow this weekend at All-Star Weekend. But
it's just really cool to see. You got to be happy for all of them. Big congratulations. They definitely deserve it. Gordon's had a phenomenal season. Yes. Obviously, the Celtics are doing just fine and
second in the East and playing well. So
very cool to see.
Yes, that will do it for this week's edition of the Butler Sports Report. We'll see you next week.